Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shirtless Plantain Show, the weekend review. If you're new here, I am Coach, and I'm on my own today. Um, Tosa and Dean, they're just having some time off, nothing too crazy. But I'm gonna try my best to make this as fun for you guys while I talk to you for the next God knows how long. Now, as I'm on my own today, I'm gonna be running through things a little bit more quickly, just because I just quite literally haven't had the time to go through with go into granular details as I haven't watched as much football as I would have liked to this weekend. But the ones that I did, you guys will be able to tell just by the detail that I go into. Heads up, I barely watched any French football outside of like bits of Marseille. So that's going to be quite brief. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I have a question of the day, and I would really love for you guys in the comments to just flood it with all your answers, because I think that'd be really cool to understand and know where people were at in that certain part of their lives. So my question is, what was everyone's first football shirt? Now mine was the 97 to, I want to say, 99 Nigeria home kit. I don't know how else to say this other than the fact that this kit means the world to me. There's so many pictures of me and all of my family that we all had, like, all my siblings, we all had the kits basically. My dad bought it for all of us. On the first time I ever visited Nigeria as well. And yeah, the kit just means a lot. It's some of the best ever Nigerian memories ever are attached to that kit. So yeah, that was my first ever football kit. Yeah, man. So guys, just let me know what your first football kit was. That would be really, really cool. We already have the Arsenal edition out already from Arsenal's trip to Ellen Road, where they won 4-0. Yeah. So yeah, go check that out. Like, share, subscribe it. It came out a bit later than usual, only because, again, of stuff that needed to be done on my part. So yeah, please go run that up, listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of the good stuff. And tell your people about it as well, please. So yeah, we're gonna go over to La Liga now, and we'll start with the headlines. So first one here is Real Madrid, 2 weeks in a row, another dramatic win. Vinicius Junior gets I want to say his first goal since early October in the league, and it was an amazing goal. And Mbappe seals it with a late penalty that Brahim Diaz won. Villarreal and Atletico Madrid are just struggling to see who is going to be the third best team in Spain right now. Both of them drew this weekend. And Barca are the first team in Europe to have all six of their attackers into double figures, which tracks if you watch 5 minutes of Barcelona game. They just create and shoot for fun. Crazy team. So let's get into the fixtures in Spain. So Osasuna 2, Villarreal 2. From the bits that I saw of it, both teams created quite a bit, but Moreno, quite literally, I think, is Villarreal's talisman at the minute. Every time I look over at them, he's affecting the game. So yeah, good for him. As we mentioned before, Atleti Junior no away to Levante. Yeah, it's strange. Atleti have a lot of firepower, and whenever there is a 0-0 there, I'm always kind of shocked in a way, because they normally do find a way to score most weeks. Barcelona went to Elche and they won 3-1. So Yamal opened the scoring from a good ball from Dani Olmo, which I think is pretty much the pattern with them. If it's not Furman, it's Olmo. If it's not Olmo, it's Pedri. They just have this really good synergy of being able to get their midfielders to get the ball to their forwards consistently. So he rounds the goalkeeper and scores really good goal. Alvaro Rodriguez, who is someone that I'm keeping an eye on, I really like what I've seen from him. He obviously beats the offside trap, obviously, because that's how Barca concede most goals. They just, yeah, whatever. They just really, really just have this thing where they don't mind conceding goals high up the pitch because it's like, well, we'll just score 3 more. It's fine. Good finish there from him. Ferran Torres is Barca's top scorer. I believe he's got 16 goals now in all competitions. And it's a mystery to me how he is because he misses so many chances. This game, he missed a one-on-one, and he also managed to hit the no, he hit the bar, should I say, and then he also ran the goalkeeper, and somehow he ran the goalkeeper at very much the center of the goal and managed to not score. But then he did score the go ahead goal after some really good like reverse pass from him first time to Frankie De Jong, and Frankie De Jong has all the composure in the world and freezes the goalkeeper basically, and just gives it back to Ferran to put in the roof of the net. And then Rashford just ices it. You know, some pretty bad defending at the back post, and he just roots it into the back of the net. And that's Barca, 3-1 up. Real Madrid at home to Rayo Vallecano. So Vinicius Jr. opens the scoring here. And it's the most it's a goal that you can expect from Vinicius Jr. He has so much quality. It's just it's a mystery to me that he's managed to go this long without a league goal. But then at the same time, I look at other forwards across Europe that have struggled for goals as well. So it's like, maybe it's a lot of things. It can't just be one thing. It's a combination of a few things here. But his goal was so good. You look at where he picked up the ball from and where he managed to actually score from. Yeah, Vinicius might be back, guys. I don't know. And then there was an equaliser for Rayo Vallecano. Mbappe managed to round the goalkeeper, going for own goal, hits the bar, and then Cisse gets a red card after a really bad tackle on Dani Ceballos, and then Madrid are pushing, like they are really like going for this equaliser, and then a silly tackle on Brahim Diaz after some good work, some good combination play, and Mbappe sticks it away as he does, and that's Real Madrid tying things, well, should I say, wrapping things up. So let's have a look at the standings in Spain. So Barcelona are first on 55 points. Real Madrid are second on 54 points. Atletico Madrid on 45 points. In third, Villarreal only 3 points behind them on 42 points. And then way back in fifth on 35 is Real Betis. And I believe they won this weekend. They did, I remember actually. And Espanyol on 34 points in sixth place. So let's go over to Ligue 1. Again, I barely watched any Ligue 1, literally just a bit of stuff here and there. So I'll go through the headlines and I'll go through the scores with you and whatever else I can get to you guys. So Ligue 1. 10-man PSG find a way at Strasbourg. Ashraf Hakimi got sent off here. And Nuno Mendes managed to find the winner. We had the Nice-Brest derby where it ended in a titillating draw, 2-2 draw. And Lens are back to winning ways after another great performance. Lens are back to winning ways, and should I say, Wanieri had another great performance for Marseille, even though they drew 2-2. So let's get into these scores in France. So Lens beat Le Havre, as I mentioned. Paris FC, again with Marseille, 2-2. Monaco beat Rennes 4-0. As you mentioned, Nice and Brest ended 2-2. And Strasbourg lost home to PSG 2-1 with Hakimi being sent off and Mendes getting the winner. So let's have a look at the standings in Ligue 1. And as we know, PSG are still first with 48 points. Lens are not that far behind them on 46. Marseille are third on 39. Lyon actually caught up with Marseille this weekend. They're also on 39 points. Lille on 32 points in fifth, and run round at the top six on 31 points. So let's go over to the Bundesliga, a league where I've said many a time, it's not there to be understood. It's only there to be what I want to say, experience. That's probably the best way I'd want to put it. So let's have a look at the headlines in the Bundesliga this week. So Bayern fell to win for the second time in a row. Hoffenheim are the form team in Germany with 5 wins on the bounce. And Dortmund managed to win what to me was the game of the weekend. We'll get into it in finer detail. So Hamburg versus Bayern Munich. I have a few thoughts, and one of the main ones is Bayern's biggest struggle, I want to say, is not the fact that they can't score goals, it's the fact they can't see off games. Their attack definitely isn't a problem at all. I saw a stat where I think Michael Elisa has like 30 plus goals and assists this season. Harry Kane has 40 plus goals and assists this season. I think Luis Diaz has 20 plus goals and assists this season. So there's no issue there with their attack. It just isn't. That's enviable of any attack in Europe, including Barcelona. But teams don't feel like they're out of the game when they play Bayern Munich. I know they've got a ton of defensive injuries, and obviously Alphonso Davies is still like gaining fitness and stuff, but they just don't seem to be scared of Bayern, which is really strange considering it's Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Everybody's scared of Bayern Munich, you know. But yeah, like teams really, really have a lot of belief playing Bayern Munich. Even before the loss last week, you know, I could see it. Now I'm trying to think, how does company change this? There will be some tactical tweaks, but I think the biggest mistake you could probably make is trying to make wholesale changes. One thing I would suggest probably is maybe playing a right back rather than in central midfield, but do whatever you like. I'm playing a central midfielder and central midfield rather at right back, but that's just me. That's just agenda speaking right there. Let's go over to Frank versus Leverkusen. So Leverkusen won this one 3-1. From what I saw, it was a 3-1. So it was a very routine win, and yeah, 2 wins on the bounce for Leverkusen. I think they might be getting some momentum, but I'm just gonna hold fire on that for now. Stuttgart beat Freiburg 1-0. And I'm probably gonna work this one backwards. Demirovic's winner was insane, but Stuttgart again should have been outside. Stuttgart are probably, I want to say, they're definitely the top 3. I think in Germany when it comes to actually just cutting through teams. They're a team that create a lot. Fun team to watch, to be fair. And yeah, I think that the winner was more than deserved. They should have been a few goals up before then. And now for me, the game of the weekend: Dortmund 3, Heidenheim 2. Straight up and down, we saw the best and the worst of Dortmund and Guirassy. Guirassy hasn't scored. I might put the stat across the bottom here. I don't know, but I just know he scored 1 goal in like the last 13 games, something like that. I want to say, and he could have had a hat trick today, and he didn't have a hat trick. He scored 2 instead, which is fair enough, but he missed the penalty. But yeah, Dortmund again are a team that I feel like their level of unseriousness, I feel like can only really be quantified when there's genuine stakes on the line. So right now they look good, they look fine, it is what it is. But if they continue to catch Bayern, just watch them have an opportunity to overtake Bayern on the table and not take it. That's what they will do. So I'm just looking at them a little bit sideways. I think it's all good now. Like there's no pressure on you now, but when the pressure comes, we'll see what Dortmund are about. But they're finding a way to win games right now. And again, I feel like at home they're still quite strong. But Guirassy is a player that I really love, and it's been really hard to watch him struggle. You know, I saw a few articles this week of people talking about him. You know, asking the question like, was he just, has he finally like been found out, or like, is he overrated, and all the other reactionary stuff that comes with it. And sometimes strikers just go through bad droughts, like they just do. That's sometimes that's football, But yeah, his first goal was really well taken. His penalty, however, was the one that he did score. Mate, goalkeeper really got a strong fist to it, but I feel like there was too much power on the penalty. But then his hat trick, his chance for the hat trick, he just hits it over. I was just, yeah, he might not be fully back just yet. But But yeah, let's have a look at the standings in Germany. You guys already know what I'm going to say here. Like, Bayern Munich are still top. If anybody was wondering, they're still top. But they're on 51 points. Dortmund have managed to close the gap to 6 points now. So it's a two game league at the minute. And yeah, so 51 points for Bayern Munich, 45 for Dortmund. Hoffenheim, the form team, are on 42 points, but they play Bayern next. That's going to be really interesting. Stuttgart, 39 points in fourth. Leipzig are some hoes. Just so you know, they lost to a team that won't be mentioned. They're on 36 points, and Bayer Leverkusen on 35 points in sixth place. So let's have a look at Serie A. So the headlines in Serie A this week. Inter to me look like they're really gearing up for a serious title challenge now. Like they're on an 11 game unbeaten run. It looks like they probably will start pulling away from everybody else. Since Spalletti's come into Juventus, I personally think they play the best football in Italy. Yeah, they're moving the ball really nice. McKinney is looking good. Marcus Thuram is Marcus Thuram. And he's getting a tune out of Jonathan David. So there's that. And Napoli get back to winning ways after last week's loss to Juve. So let's get into the games in Italy. So Napoli beat Fiorentina 2-1. Como versus Atalanta. Now, I didn't see much of this. Now, I know Atalanta got a red card, but then I saw the XG for this game, and Atalanta had like almost 6 XG, but it ended 0-0. So, like the sicko I will be really looking for extensive highlights of this game because I need to see how they didn't score. But yeah, take it from me. I didn't see anything of this game really, so I will be definitely be catching up a bit later on. Inter beat Cremonese 2-0 away from home. Lautaro, I have cussed this guy for God knows how long, and I will continue to cuss him because I've invested too much hate into this agenda, so I'm just going to carry on, unfortunately. He's the talisman. He is the king of Inter. It's that simple. And I know we have Barella and not Baresi. Oh my gosh, that's a huge compliment. Barella and Bastoni. Obviously, DeMarco is there as well, but Lautaro being the captain, being a striker, he's always finding a way with Inter Milan. Seriously, he's in Italy. I can't fault him. Everywhere else, I have issues, but it is what it is. Good header from him from a corner. And then Zielinski, this is like the third time this season I want to say I've seen him score some like an incredible long range. There was one I think against Bologna, I remember. If it was from a corner, I want to say, but if it wasn't, yeah, the one from a corner was just ridiculous. Cremonese still had chances in this game, but Inter are way too strong. And then to round off Italy here, Parma versus Juve, 4-1 for Juve, very routine. Like I said, they play the best football in Italy, but Parma's high line, I mean, okay, you're gonna have Conceição just running into that space whenever he felt like it, and that's pretty much how the game went. But they got 2 goals from Bremer from set pieces, and Jonathan David obviously scored from scored a tap in. But McKinney's goal for me was the goal of the night. Really good scissor kick. And that's a lost art. Everyone wants to get the overhead kick, but scissor kicks to me are just as impressive for me. And that's Italy for this week. So let's have a look at the standings. As we mentioned before, Inter are top. Pardon, give me 1 second. Yes, so Inter are top on 55 points. Milan are second with a game in hand, by the way. I believe they play on Tuesday on 47 points. Napoli on 46 points in third. Juventus on 45 points in fourth. Roma on 43 points in fifth. They also have a game in hand. Are they playing Milan? I feel like they're playing Milan, aren't they? I'll check in a second, actually. And Como on 41 points in sixth place. I'm pretty sure Milan are playing Roma. They are, aren't they? No, they played already. They played last week. Sorry, it's Bologna. Yes, it's Bologna that Milan are away to. All right. So let's get to the Super League. So the headlines in England this week: Arsenal extend their lead at the top to 6 points. I'll be honest with you, Ekitike and Wirtz, I'm beginning to worry a little bit. I knew they were really good players, but I think this is probably the most solid two-man game in the league at the minute. I feel like they've in the last couple of weeks, despite Liverpool's form, they've actually started to strike up some, a good relationship and some good combinations there, and they obviously won. And Man United are 2 wins away from a certain individual being able to cut his hair. Now, a part of me, obviously being a hater, wants to see United not win 5 games in a row because I just think it would be funny, and I really want to see how far this can go. And another part of me wants to just get over and done with. So I'm sick of the charade. Like, just get over and done with now. But yes, let's get into the games. So Brighton versus Everton. Look, I don't see a world where a manager being booked for celebrating a late equalizer. I don't see how that ever makes sense. Where do you want him to let these emotions out? Do you want him to save it to when he gets home? It makes no sense. And the fact that David Moyes actually swore in his press conference afterwards, like, you could tell he was annoyed. You could actually tell he was annoyed. Like, it makes no sense for him to, I don't care. I personally would prefer, like, let's put it like this, guys. What makes more sense, because neither of them do, by the way, but a player getting booked for taking his shirt off, and we know why he gets booked for taking his shirt off, because, again, sponsors are annoyed that, they don't get their money shot, if you like. And then managers being booked for coming at a technical area for celebrating. Neither of these practices make sense, but we've accepted them as norms, and to me, they don't make sense. I personally won't stand for it. I really hate that. But the game itself, I think both teams had could lay claim to feeling like they were a little bit hard done by the result. But Kieran Dewsbury Hall, I feel like he was probably my personal standout player this game. He definitely, I feel like, helped Everton really establish their game, especially in the second half as well. To be fair, so yeah, Pascal Gross back from Dortmund obviously opened the scoring quite late in the second half, and then Beto even later equalised. So let's go to uh, Leeds versus Arsenal. Arsenal edition's already out, so you guys go run that up. If I do have anything else to say about this game, I did miss it out on the pod yesterday, but there was something very obvious to me with the team selection. When we talk about earning the right to play your football and win the game, this is a textbook example of it. If we started with certain individuals, I'm not going to call anyone out because it could be anyone, but if you started with what people would deem to be like our best players, our best 11 kind of thing, I don't feel like it suited the game. Now, most teams, their first 11s, most top teams, their first 11 should be okay for any game. But I feel like in the Premier League, it's not always the case, regardless of how good your players are, because everyone has good players. So Arsenal essentially winning the game in the first half, if you want to call it that, with a more sort of physical, direct lineup, and then icing it with a more sort of technical lineup, that's okay with me. I don't mind that. We have a squad for a reason. And we'll probably see in our next game, the lineup will be different again, because the demands of the league is just there's no like sort of one size fits all, unless you literally have a combination of 09 Barcelona and 04 Arsenal, something like that. I don't know. So yeah, but yeah, go check out Arsenal edition, please, and yeah, run it up. Wolverhampton Wanderers lost at home to AFC Bournemouth. Krupi is going to make them a lot of money in the next year and a half. His opener was ridiculous. It reminded me quite a bit of Patrick Dorgu's goal. Good for you. But yeah, playing within the block and being able to exploit teams over aggression is really, really cool. yeah, really good goal. But to be honest, Wolves probably should have equalised and maybe even taken the lead in this game. And yeah, Bournemouth hit them with a classic counter in the end with Scott getting the goal to ice the game. Chelsea 3, West Ham 2. Good for Chelsea, they won. It is what it is. West Ham is a team I kind of hope gets relegated anyway, so I don't really care. But West Ham were 2-0 up and they were killing Chelsea down their left hand side, absolutely killing them. And then Liam Rosinha made all the changes basically down the left hand side and brought on João Pedro as well. João Pedro scores the first goal. Cucurella scores the equaliser, and then Fernandez scores the winner. But the real headline from this game is the fact that Adama Traore and Todibo are guys I absolutely would not want to pick fights with, just on a normal day, let alone in a London derby when I'm obviously riled up. But if you saw the look, there was two looks in people's eyes actually that really, really caught my attention. The first one was João Pedro after realizing that, oh my gosh, I've just pushed a pissed off Adama Traore. I don't know if I want these problems. I'm good. And the second look was Todibo after he got his hands on João Pedro, and the way he just walked him down. He was looking at him. I was like, there's a good chance if there was no cameras, he might have done something he might not regret, but a lot of people would. Like there was a look in his eye. I've seen that look before, and it means something, you know. But yeah, Chelsea won, good for them. Who cares? Cheaters. So we'll move on to Liverpool Newcastle. So look, as I said before, Ekitike and Vert's partnership probably should be enough to see Liverpool, have a strong finish to the season and, get top four. They may or may not make a deep run in the Champions League, who knows? But them two are more than enough for most of this league, I want to say. Gordon obviously opened the scoring, and then Ekitike got a double before half time, and his first goal, his second goal, should I say, the burst of acceleration and the toe poke was just elite stuff. That's like Ekitike is pretty much going to be one of the new leaders, I think, of the new sort of striking class. Yeah, top player. And I feel like Vert's goal again was quality as well. Big shout out to Ibrahima Konate. It's been a tough week for him. He lost his father. Rest in peace to him. And he played really well yesterday as well. And then he scores as well, which makes it even sweeter for him. So I'm really pleased for him, genuinely. So let's move on to today's fixtures. Villa lost at home to Brentford after Brentford got a red card with Sharda. Now, it was a red card, I won't lie to you, but at the same time, I also feel like it was potentially quite soft. I don't know, like, maybe I'm the psycho, maybe I like violence, I don't know, maybe that's what it is, but he kicked out, and obviously he's got studs, but it just felt, I don't know, it could have easily been interpreted as him just trying to get his balance and stand up kind of thing. That's what I kind of thought, at least, but doesn't matter. They still managed to wait to score and win. Utara, from an improbable angle, puts into the top corner. And Villa had some chances. They tried their long range shot gimmick. Didn't work today. And you never know. This could be the start of the rest of the chasing pack catch them up. But I don't know. I feel like Villa are still really good. And I feel like they are, this season at least, they are better than the teams chasing them. But it remains to be seen if they can catch up. We all know who's managed. If they can be caught, sorry, we know who's managing them. So there's that. And one of the teams chasing them is Manchester United. And I'll be honest with you, I thought I said it before, but I said at the beginning of the season United should be getting top four. With the attacking signings that they made, I was like, yeah, for sure. And then Amorim decided to be Amorim, and yeah, I was even struggling to see them finishing in the top 5, top 6. But now that's changed. And I feel like United are all attack. They're generally just all attack. They've got one of the best attacks in the league, not only statistically, but also with the player quality, I think, as well. Ahmad, Sheshko, Cunha, Embuemo, Bruno Fernandes. That's dangerous. That's really, really... If they were in the Champions League, they would be able to hurt a lot of teams, genuinely. But, yeah, Casemiro scores a header after Bruno Fernandes puts it across. That was originally a penalty, and it got overturned. And then from that same free kick, basically, they scored. And then Cunha scores from a no-look pass from Casemiro. A really good finish, near post, roof of the net. And that's when the game actually started, because Jimenez scored a penalty after Harry Maguire took him out after he had a shot. And then Kevin scored arguably maybe the goal of the weekend. And actually, no, that's for somebody else, which we'll get to. But at the time, it was goal of the weekend. And then Sheshko manages to score winner after Bruno Fernandes sells a really good dummy to poor Calvin Bassey. And yeah, he puts it into the box for Sheshko to take a touch and put it into the top corner. United won, and yeah, they look good. 2 more games and Mr. Haircut can actually finally cut his hair. Let's have a look at Forest versus Crystal Palace. This game wasn't interesting, so I won't even try to bore you guys, but Gibbs White scores a really good goal. Neco Williams, for some reason, decides to handball the ball on the line thinking that there's no cameras. And then Sarr wins the penalty and scores the penalty from that. And that's all she wrote on that one. I'm not going to talk to you about a Sean Dyche team. I love you guys way too much to do any of that rubbish. And then we come to the game of the day, which was Tottenham at home to Manchester City. 2 teams and clubs who, if they folded tomorrow, I would sleep like a baby. I couldn't even monkeys about them. However, they played a game today, and Man City took the lead. In fact, they went 2 goals up. And we were all thinking, and according to the Sky broadcast, it was going to be 5-0, and City was so good, and XYZ. And I always watched the game thinking City were okay. It's just Tottenham were very, very, very bad. I mean, there was all the vulnerabilities that were there in the second half. They were there in the first half. Tottenham just played with a bit more balls. That's all it was, really. But yeah, Solanke scored an equaliser. Scored his first goal, which to me was controversial in a way. Not quite sure what happened between him and Gahey. All the angles, to me, weren't 100% conclusive, but it is what it is. And then he scores his Olivier Giroud tribute, which was a scorpion kick. And I just have to be clear here. Arsenal fans, you don't have to tell anybody if you did. But if you did do it, you know what I'm talking about. Just know you're disgusting. You're never supposed to do that. Ever. I don't care if the title's on the line. You just don't do that. So whenever goals like that go in from this team against teams challenging for the league, you just sit there and just accept it. And that's it. You don't do anything else. Just don't do what you know what I'm talking about. Because it's wrong, it's disgusting. Right? But generally, that second half, Tottenham were the better side. And this is a depleted Tottenham. So I think they only had 12 or 13 first teamers that were actually fit. And they were bringing on academy players by the end of it. I think Solanke went off at the end for an academy player. But really what I was talking about is Rodri's comments at the end of the game. Like, he was complaining about the ref and whatever else. He should have been sent off today. He had 2 really bad tackles after he had a yellow card. And he's talking about refs. Talking about, oh yeah, we've won a lot of titles and, some refs don't want to see us win anymore. You didn't win titles, bro. You cheated your way to them. I can say that because it's facts, but nobody's going to cut me off here because I'm on my own. You guys got to listen to me. You guys got to listen to this, unfortunately. But I just, let's call it what it is. City and their fans and the media can bury their head in the sand and pretend as if this City team and this regime aren't a bunch of stinking cheats, but they are. So, and the fact that Rodri believes his own hype is like, oh yeah, they don't want to see us win and XYZ and blah, blah, blah. And that's why it is. It's so brazen. Like, I don't know how you can actually say that with a straight face. But him saying that just lets me know that they're rattled. They really are. And if they keep playing this way, they're going to drop more points. It's that simple. they're gonna drop more points. They've got like at the time of recording another half a day or whatever to when the transfer window finishes. Spend another 300 million. Maybe that could save a season. I don't know. But if you continue playing this way, you're gonna drop points. But yeah, that's been the Super League. Let's have a look at the table. So Arsenal are first on 53 points, 6 points ahead of Manchester City, who are on 47 points. Aston Villa are on 46 points, a point behind them. Manchester United are on 41 points. They're on fourth place behind Villa. Chelsea are on 40 points in fifth place, and Liverpool on 39 points in sixth. Just want to give a special shout out to Brentford. They're on 36 points, only 3 points behind Liverpool, despite losing their last two of their last five. So yeah, shout out to them. But yeah, we'll leave it there. We got this done in less than 40 minutes. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this despite us being understaffed. Next week we should be back to full complement. But if we're not, I guess you'll be stuck with me again. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, take it easy, guys. We love you. Peace.